Aloha, y'all. Welcome to the Esports Futuri E-Zine Podcast, where we chat it up with your favorite celebrities, influencers, local heroes, and people of all walks of life as we reveal the unexpected connection they have to the gaming industry. I'm your host, Chauntel Boucher. Well, hello, and aloha, y'all. I can't even talk today. This is Chauntel Boucher with another episode of the Esports Futuri E-Zine Podcast. And I have my very special guest today here with me, Charles Conroy.
Hey.
How are you doing?
Aloha, y'all.
Aloha, y'all. Yes, I know. It's my thing. It's what I do. You know, being from Hawaii, now in Texas, it seems appropriate.
Yeah, I think you're like melding cultures left and right. So I love it. I feel like it. So, Mr. Charles over here across from me, I have had the joyous, wonderful privilege to hang out with him even before this. And he's just such a stand-up good guy and a really amazing businessman. Thank you very much.
And in the gaming industry too, especially, which is so interesting. So we want to learn more about you. Let's start at the beginning.
Yeah, let's go.
When you were born in...
March 30th, 1987 on a stormy eve in Connecticut.
Oh my goodness. You were born in 1987?
I was born in 1987.
Oh my God, I hate you. Whatever. I mean, I was born in 93.
There you go.
I wasn't, but whatever.
Well,
tell me so tell me a little bit about your background, where are you from? How did you end up in Texas?
Yeah. So I'll try to give you sort of the abbreviated version.
Yeah.
But grew up in Connecticut, lived in Europe for a little while for high school, came back to the U.S., which is where my gaming career pretty much started.
Mm-hmm.
Counter-Strike was really big in Europe. I played it, came back to the U.S. and managed a team that became pretty big here in the United States. And then we won some qualifiers to travel around the world and represent the United States at the World Cup in Paris. And we went to Korea and filmed the TV show.
Love it.
Yeah. And then DirecTV came along and started the Championship Gaming Series, which was the first city-based league.
Mm-hmm.
And it was on linear television. We had the draft at the Playboy Mansion. Everyone got their own apartments in L.A. NFL producers were behind it.
Crazy.
Yeah, I was a 19-year-old actually here in Dallas going to SMU. And I got tapped to run the Dallas team in the league, the Dallas Venom.
Yeah.
Insane experience at 19, right? Rolling into the gates of the Playboy Mansion in the back of a limo, being like, what is my life all for esports?
And in such a short amount of time.
It was crazy. So that unfortunately flamed out. They spent a lot of money a little too quickly, about $45 million in 2 seasons.
Wow. Where does that money go? Like, for people, I mean, they hear about billions of dollars being spent in the gaming industry. And this is a great example of, maybe a wrong way to spend some of the money. But what is the money going towards with stuff like that?
So they were like, their biggest problem is they were too early. This was 2007. This was pre-Twitch. I view gaming as pre-Twitch and post-Twitch, basically, is like how I look at esports. I mean, they were paying producers $500,000 to $1 million a season because they were like the best NFL producers. They brought in the best talent, and the intentions were great. Yeah, but the execution was off. Yeah, amazing experience to be a part of, though. Unfortunately, after that kind of fizzled, the U.S. gaming industry was really hurt, esports specifically, because people felt that if these guys couldn't do it with $45 million, like who can? Right? Yeah,
absolutely.
And so that was a sort of a dark time to be in esports. And a great friend of mine, Jason Lake, and I, and another friend of ours, Jason Bass, relaunched Complexity Gaming, which was an incredible experience.
I've heard of that before.
Yeah. So that was a crazy ride, right? We had no money. Wow. We had players that had been on TV for 2 years, though, and we felt that was valuable. We had a lot of experience in this space, and we knew some people. Yeah. We put all that together. I flew out to CES in Vegas, and I walked out of there with about $70,000 in commitments from sponsors to restart the team. Yeah. Made no money the first few years. We're kind of living off the money we'd saved from CGS. And eventually, we had our own product line in Best Buy, which was really exciting. We had champions.
Talk to me a little bit about that, as far as the products that you had going out there.
For sure. So we kind of took I like to call it the fatality model, because my good friend John sort of started it by being the first celebrity gamer to endorse a product line. And the business model, if you can get it, is pretty great because there's no upfront cost to the team. Gotcha. Right? You get sent a product that you're going to endorse, and you basically beat the hell out of it. Like you criticize everything you don't like, and they come back with iteration after iteration. until it's good enough for the team to be like, yeah, we'll put our stamp on this. And for that, level of testing and contribution, you get your logo on it and you get a percentage of sales, but you're not responsible for inventory. If it doesn't sell, you're not taking on the back product.
Yep. The extra responsibilities on there.
Totally. It's all upside.
Yep.
So getting those deals were tough, but once we had our headset and our sound card that sold really well, we then had some graphic card partners and it sort of was an avalanche of success there. And we had 5 branded products we had a mouse pad. And then, Twitch came out, and this is sort of the post-Twitch era of esports that I talk about that we're in now, where sports teams saw how many people were watching esports. And we got taken seriously from a financial level and an investment level as an industry. And being the oldest team in North America, which Complexity is still the longest running team in North American history.
So what year was that then?
This was 2.5 years ago. So it was like 2017.
Yeah.
The America's team came knocking. And that, of course, is the Dallas Cowboys.
What?
Here in Dallas, Texas. Aloha, y'all.
Aloha, y'all.
And Jerry Jones came and knocked on our door.
I heard of that guy before.
Yeah, not personally, obviously.
That'd be cool, though.
A guy who worked for a guy who worked for a guy who worked for Jerry, I think, emailed us. It was a long, crazy process. Jason was out as sort of our representative.
Yeah.
And would meet with them, and then he would come back and we'd sort of war room it, and we'd go back and forth, and back and forth, and then the deal became very real.
Yeah.
And it came down to really the final hours of negotiation on what they wanted, what we wanted, and we ended up with a deal that everyone was really happy with, and I ended up exiting the company fully, and so did all the other partners, and Lake is now the CEO and is running it and killing it, doing a great job over there.
Awesome.
And I'll have the crazy distinction of having sold the company to the Cowboys for forever now, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. How many people could say that? Especially like at your age and just the history that led up to all of this. Like, your journey has been crazy. What do you feel like from that time you started until now, besides that highlight with Jerry? What are the other highlights that have like those milestones where you're like, this is like a game changer? Like, what doors did that even open up after that?
So I have an incredible job now at the company called The Switch. I love it over there. We're the world's largest live event broadcaster. Yeah. So we do the PGA. We just did the Latin Grammys last weekend. We'll be doing awesome. Grammys coming up. So we take a signal from any live event and distribute it around the world. We also help produce some of these events. Like, we did the picks for the Grammys, the nominations rather. Yeah. Which is obviously very different in 2020.
I was just going to say, like, what are the changes for you? I mean, especially because, we have a lot of our listeners and viewers are in the entertainment industry too as well. And even though this is so gaming, people don't realize how traditional businesses are linked to the gaming industry too as well. Totally. But speak to a little bit more about that.
So I run the gaming division at The Switch, and we support Call of Duty League, Overwatch League, ESL, Blast Pro Series, by both an infrastructure perspective, like providing actual internet at the events, and then from a distribution perspective, taking that signal and sending it around the world to wherever it needs to go. And I say this all the time. I think esports can really learn from traditional sports in some ways, and traditional sports can learn from esports in some ways. Absolutely,
110%. What do you think is the biggest difference between the two?
Frankly, I think an esports broadcast is a lot harder to pull off than a traditional sports broadcast because there's so much more going on. Yeah. You're getting actual player feeds. I mean, not to say an NFL broadcast is easy, because it's certainly not. But you have like 4 field shots. You might zoom in on a player. You don't have to look at every player's helmet cam.
Oh, yeah, totally.
So an esports broadcast is a lot more going on. There's a lot more to manage. And I think traditional broadcasters are learning from it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so crazy too, is I really love to educate people on the possibilities of them getting involved with their passions in the gaming industry. So we'd love to like bring all angles and say, hey, like, there's a place for everybody here. Even if you're not a gamer, like, I wouldn't consider myself a huge gamer. And people have heard me talk on the show before. Like, I play Super Mario Brothers, original, NES. And guess what? I can murder anyone in it.
You're an OG gamer.
I'm an OG gamer. So like, all my stuff that I have is like Super Mario stuff. But I have such a passion for the industry itself. Yeah. And can you maybe also start speaking a little bit more to some of the other angles of opportunities that are out there for entrepreneurs and business owners, and maybe give them some advice if they're looking to tap into the gaming industry with their passions that they have in other areas, even if they're not a gamer?
Yeah, so the first thing to notice is gaming is the most popular form of entertainment in the world. More so than music, more so than movies. So if you tell someone you want to work in the gaming industry and they scoff at you, frankly, they're an idiot, right? Because
of course.
If you said you wanted to work in the music or movie industry, they'd applaud you and say how creative and amazing that is. And those industries are smaller.
Yeah.
So small-minded people have small-minded ideas, and I don't think you should.
Story.
Yeah, I don't think you should let them affect your opinion at all. So
yeah,
when I started working in esports, a lot of people didn't get it. I had to explain it to a lot of people, and what's cool now is I don't have to explain it to a lot of people what esports is.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. So whatever if you're a gamer and you want to work in the gaming industry, there's a role for whatever you want to do. If you want to be an accountant that focuses on gaming, you can do that. If you want to be a lawyer that focuses on gaming, you can do that. So any traditional job you can think of, there's a need for it within gaming. Just add gaming to that job. The gaming marketing people that I see that do these game launches and I mean, outside of obviously designers that create these wonderful games that are super talented.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And have a skill set I can't even wrap my head around because they're so smart.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are geniuses.
Yeah.
And girls are geniuses. You know, these people rather are
I
geniuses.
appreciate that.
Yeah. But you know, whatever you want to do as a profession, you can do that within the gaming industry. And because the gaming industry is evolving so much faster than say the movie industry, than the television industry, than really any other traditional form of entertainment, you can create a new idea and have it be actualized much faster than you can in an entertainment industry that's stagnant.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I love how you compared it to being in the movie industry. It's almost like saying, oh, I can't be in the movie industry because I'm not an actress or something like that.
Right,
and
exactly.
It's like, why? I mean, most of the people in the movie industry are not actresses. And I feel like that's what needs to be understood and relayed to people out there now these days is like, yeah, it's the esports and gaming industry, but you know, there's people who are in the esports, the percentage is very low.
Correct.
I mean, do you even know what that is?
I don't even want to be misquoted right now, but I would say esport is for sure under 1% of overall gaming.
I would say kind of the same thing too. Like,
yeah,
it's just so small, but you have like the everyday gamers are the people that keep it strong, I guess, too, as well. But
in esports and mainstream gaming are sort of coming together more.
Yeah.
Like if you look at titles like Call of Duty, a ton of Call of Duty players watch Call of Duty League, even if they don't aspire to be a pro player.
Exactly.
Because of the way they present it.
Right.
So there's some bridges being made there, which I think is really cool. And I think we need to continue to meld casual gaming and pro gaming and make pro gaming sort of approachable to casual gamers without watering it down and watering down the product.
Absolutely. Those are great points. I also like to know, like, what do you kind of forecast for 2021 in the esports and gaming industry?
Yeah.
Maybe on a positive and even a negative note, or maybe just a challenge that you see we might have because of the world right now.
Yeah, totally. I get asked this question a lot.
I'm sure you do.
Over the last 60 days from a lot of people. From our perspective at the Switch and my perspective on the broadcast side, you're going to see a lot more studio shows.
Yeah.
So you're not going to be seeing people going back to the Barclays Center January 1st or American Airlines here in Dallas.
Yeah.
You'll see confined studio shows where everyone's been COVID tested, everyone's safe, there's not a live audience. And I think that'll be the first iteration of in-person events.
Yeah.
The biggest challenge you're going to see are regions playing each other, right? North America playing Europe, playing Asia is not going to happen online because of ping issues. So they don't have the ability because of travel bans or because they're not comfortable to get together and play. We're not going to be seeing something that I love about esports, the global competition.
I know.
And that's going to bum me out.
Yeah.
But it's not forever. This is a moment in time.
Yeah, for real.
Esports was poised to have its biggest year, and I cannot stress this enough. The biggest year in esports was 2020. With the amount of live events that were about to be executed. At the Switch, we were looking at like 150 live events that we were going to support. And it ended up being like 22.
Yeah.
Because COVID hit early and everything shut down. It's not like people are scrapping that 2020 vision that they had and saying, well, we're not going to do that anymore.
Adjusting.
Yeah, it's going to happen. Everyone still wants to do that.
Absolutely.
And as soon as it's safe and cool to do so, people will be back in arenas.
Absolutely.
And people are excited to get back there, and they can't wait to get back there as soon as it's safe to do so from whatever mandates, you're looking at.
Yeah. Do you think it would be safe to say, because like in my opinion, like because 2020 happened like this and people were stuck at home, I mean, there was definitely an influx in people playing more and more games, purchasing more games. So now I feel like the audience for 2021 is going to be much broader than it even was before. Would you think that would be true?
Absolutely. And I think there's the best case in point is when there were literally no sports and esports was on TV and was like the thing to bet on from a gambler perspective. A lot of like my buddies that I love very much, but are DGen gamblers, a few of them were calling me and they were like, I don't know what these words mean, but FaZe Clan is playing Fnatic. Who do I put $200 on? And I would laugh, and like that's how they got into esports. And then they checked it out. I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So a lot of fans were exposed to it that way. And are you going to retain everyone now that live sports is back? No, but you have new fans that you didn't have before, and so the overall numbers are going to grow. Yeah,
the audience has grown, which means that as far as advertisers, sponsorships and whatnot, all the different verticals that they target, that's going to grow for them too as well. Now, from a business perspective for 2021, speak a little bit more to that on like what you would like to see happen.
Yeah. So from a sponsorship perspective, let's start there. Every brand should have an esports strategy right now. That's a major brand. If they don't, they're already behind.
I agree with that.
Yeah. And if they're just starting to formulate one now, they're 10 steps behind. They're not too late because the industry's not like dead, right? It's growing at a rocket ship rate. So if you're not in, get in now. If you're already in, make sure you're doing it right. And if you're doing it right, continue to do it better.
Yeah. And what would you say to people who are business owners or have large companies that are like, well, I don't know if that's our demographic or this or this or this, because that is not true. And I mean, literally everybody, the demographic is everyone in esports and gaming. And like, what points could you make to that to like encourage them to advertise or put sponsorships into the esports?
I mean, some real quick stats just from the top of my head.
Yeah.
16 to, well, actually really 14 to 32-year-old males and females, right? It's not just males.
Yeah.
It's gaming, casual gaming specifically is basically 50-50.
Yeah.
It is the most desirable demographic to have. They have the most disposable income because they don't have families yet. And they have incredible brand loyalty because you're still choosing what kind of car you're going to drive. For most people, when they buy a car, stick to a brand for a number of iterations of that car. They're getting their first car, they're going to stick to a brand. Simple things like toothpaste, they're going to stick to a brand.
Yeah.
So when they're developing who they're going to be loyal to for the rest of their life, that's during this age group. Also, they don't watch like commercials on TV or read the news. So how are you going to reach them, right? A commercial on the radio? No, that's not going to work.
I mean, I don't even watch television.
Yeah. I actually just signed up for TV last night. I didn't have live TV for a while.
Really?
I moved down here 2 months ago, and honestly, I think my girlfriend wanted to watch Bravo, and so I had to sign up for Hulu TV.
Hilarious.
But I was watching like Netflix, and I watched a lot of Twitch. But now
YouTube. I'm a big YouTube fan.
I'll go down some wormholes on YouTube.
Oh my God, I know. I'm like, why am I watching this Asian person eat noodles in the middle at 3:00 in the morning?
Yeah, like 4 hours later, I'm like, wow, that Wayfair conspiracy really is interesting, or something crazy. And you're like, just watch 70 YouTube videos. So
I know.
I'm easily entertained, I guess. But look, this demographic, you want to reach it. This is a way to reach it. If you do it organically and intelligently, they will be loyal to you. And frankly, they smell BS in esports a mile away.
Oh my God.
So if you come at it inauthentically, it can actually hurt your brand.
Oh, absolutely. Strategy is super important. Sincerity is super important. And I think being able to have a common connection between everybody, which we can all find commonalities with each other when we take a moment, Yeah. Gaming is a great equalizer in a lot of ways. It is.
I mean, whether you're male, female, whatever your sexual orientation is, whatever the color of your skin is, you get on the sticks, whether you have a disability or not, get on the sticks, like everyone's equal. And I love that about gaming.
I love that. And I love how you said disabilities too as well. And because it really, truly doesn't put any boundaries on anybody. I mean, literally almost anyone can do it.
Yeah. And people generally look, there's always going to be toxic communities, anything you do.
And anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. But in gaming, at least from the live event perspective, people that go to a live gaming event are generally incredibly nice people.
Yeah.
That are super open-minded and just very kind. And I love that about gaming. It's what attracted me when I was 16. And one of the reasons I'm still in it is I like doing cool things with cool, nice people.
Yeah, imagine that.
Yeah, it's insane.
Imagine that.
And you'd be surprised like how hard that is to do. Like if you want to be successful and you also want to do it with cool people that are kind, not always the easiest thing to do. And that sucks. You
know what I love about the gaming industry too, to speak more to that, is in a lot of times in other types of sports, there's I think more cattiness than there is in the gaming and esports industry. Totally. I've noticed, 100%. Like it's like even that's another difference between the two is like when I'm the communities and stuff that I meet on both ends, not to talk bad about any other sports. I'm just saying it is what it is, people.
Yeah.
That's just how it is because, they're like big time celebrities where like they're on your freaking Wheaties box and like, they're Nike and things like that. But the esports world, because it is still up and coming and we still have so much more further to go, that community, like you said, there's just this genuineness about them and kindness about them still too as well.
Totally. And if you're not genuine and kind, you get a reputation. Like esports is not that big yet. Yeah. I mean, it's big. It's a huge multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like they don't have room for people that aren't going to.
It comes from a little bit more of a humble place too.
Totally.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Well, I appreciate you coming on today, and I want to keep having you back.
Yeah, well, I'm local now. You're
local now.
For 11 years in New York, I am now a Dallas, Texas resident.
Was it 11 years?
Yeah, I was in New York for 11 years, and I had a blast, and still go back there regularly. But Dallas, Texas is home now, so I'm excited to come hang out whenever.
I love it. We're going to have him back, Mr. Charles Conroy. Thank you so much again for stopping by, hanging out on the show. I'm going to keep stalking you like I usually do. Like I do all my people, and we'll have some drinks next time too as well.
Sounds good.
All right, thank you everybody for watching. Chauntel Boucher with the Esports Futuri E-Zine Podcast. Until next time, aloha y'all. Thanks for listening to the Esports Futuri E-Zine Podcast. This podcast is part of the Esports Futuri Podcast Network and produced by Innovation Media Enterprises. Make sure you subscribe on your favorite podcast channel and leave us a review.